Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folari, and our guest this morning is Mr. Dumebi Kachukwu. Dumebi Kachukwu was the 2023 ADC presidential candidate, ADC as in African Democratic Congress. He joins us from our Abuja studio. A fine morning to you, Mr. Kachukwu.
Good morning to you from Abuja.
Indeed. Okay. There's been a heck of a lot that's been going on in the political space, and what we're doing is touching base with political figures of note to see how they read what is going on. Let me start from, look, is it early? Because the way the 2027 presidential race has sort of hotted up, is that in order, or do you think, well, it's as a result of special circumstances? We're just midway into the, administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What's your view on that? Whether this is coming early, or it's on time, or there's nothing strange about it?
Well, I think that as usual, Nigerian politicians are doing what they know best, and which is acting ignorant. You have a government of the day in power who should set an agenda and who should follow through on the agenda. But typically what the opposition does is try to set a different agenda to derail or get the government of the day to lose focus. And I believe that this is what we're seeing, and that's why we see a lot happening in the political space. It's way too early. I believe that men act like they are gods when a whole 2 years before the elections, all sorts of permutations are in play, all sorts of things are happening. We'll see the same old playbook again happening in Nigeria. Several years ago when President Goodluck Jonathan was in office, the same thing we're seeing in political space was happening now. They said set an agenda for him. They said hiring foreign mercenaries, killings were going on all over the country, kidnappings were happening, and the same thing we're seeing today. So essentially it's to get people disenchanted with the government of the day, for people to say the government of the day is not working, the government of the day is not doing anything, and then there's this big build-up going into the elections. This is the same thing we're seeing today. But like I said yesterday, you can't fool the people two times. The people have got to see clearly through what's going on. They should see clearly through the shenanigans of politicians, especially desperate old politicians. They should see through what they're doing. They should know that Nigeria is bigger than the ambitions of these old men, and they should know that Nigeria is worth fighting for.
Thank you. This point you've made here, there are those who are saying that, look, we have a lot of septuagenarians, sometimes octogenarians, who are coming out and actually are spoiling for an electoral fight, where in other jurisdictions you find men in the late, maybe late 30s, 40s, certainly, early 50s. These are the people. But here, when it comes to very high office, if you get my understanding, I don't know what is going on, and that's why I put it down as one of the questions that I might be asking you. Is this the way we are in Nigeria? Because it looks like the potential of the younger elements. Let's just arbitrarily take a 40, a position of an age of 40, and thereabouts. Maybe give it 3 here, maybe give it 3 there. We don't see those kind of people. Is it that they don't have what it takes, or they don't have the network, the machinery? What is it that prevents Nigerians from uncovering new talents? And the figures that we are seeing now and hearing from now have been there all of our national life.
Well, it's very simple. The people you're hearing about are people who've captured state resources, who've cornered power for the longest time, for decades. They are household names. They are brand names. So I remember when I came out to run for office, a lot of people said directly to me, why don't you run for House of Assembly, House of Rep, Senate? Why go for the presidency? You are an unknown entity. And so this is how we see politics in Nigeria. We believe that these old fogies that we know, that we love to hate and hate to love, that they are the best for Nigeria since we know they are good and bad over the years. And because of this, these guys come in with a brand of politics that is as old as Nigeria, a politics that is about tribe and religion, a politics that divides us as a people. It's about me, myself, and I, and me, my people. And we've continued like that for decades, and that's where we are today. So if you see what's happening in political space, in recent times you see a group of people who are coming out who are saying, we did not will do this, we will not will do that. And so what that tells you is, again, you have people playing ethnic and religious politics. It happened in the last elections where a lot of people believed that it was a turn of the Southeast, and religious dimensions were brought into play, ethnic dimensions were brought into play. We had the Milocon faction who says, it's about my turn, it's about the turn of my people. So look at all these dynamics, and it's about these old politicians and is their brand of politics. When President Obasanjo was elected into office, people said he's one of the most detribalized Nigerians and one of the most detribalized presidents we've ever had. He came into office, and a lot of people from the Southwest feel till today that Obasanjo didn't cater to the Southwest of Nigeria. After Obasanjo left office, Obasanjo catered mainly to Northerners who sponsored him into office. He left office, Yar'Adua came in and seemed to continue catering to his kit and cane. Jonathan was there, and Jonathan, in trying to stay in office, was working with the tandem of the same northern Nigeria and people from southeast of Nigeria. So people felt. Jonathan didn't come back. Buhari was there for 8 years. When Nigerians felt that Buhari balkanized Nigeria, made Nigeria a northern enterprise completely. So you now have an Emilocon president who has come and said, my people for over 2 decades or more, if you take the military era into play, for close to 3-4 decades, my people have had a very raw deal in this enterprise called Nigeria. And it seems like he's doing everything to cater to his people. But what I always say is this. The man, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's called the president of Nigeria, not the president of Southwest Nigeria. These old politicians need to start looking in a completely different direction. If I were this president, I will not let the opposition set an agenda for me. I will not let them derail me. His first agenda when he was sworn into office was national cohesion. That has still not been done till today. And that is still what is derailing Nigeria. God forbid we go into the next elections, Nigeria divided as it is, or people start playing the ethnic and the religious card again, which is what we see at play again today.
Well, as you say, that is the part of the narration that's out there relating to this president and catering for this people, his people, or that people. But they themselves have made some efforts to, look at what is documented, and I've tried to prove that, it's not the way that it is being stated. Now, this is part of a whole campaign again to, as it were, just project the narrative that suits those who are projecting it. I don't know if they succeeded or not in proving to such accusers that Bola Tinubu is not necessarily appointing only, quote-unquote, his people. They looked at the mix and they thought that, look at the evidence.
Well, the evidence they presented was taken away the next day immediately when they realized that the evidence was not fact-based. The truth is that this president has catered largely to his kit and cane. Does he have reasons for doing that? I have narrated why he's probably doing this. Is that the right thing to do? Absolutely not. But it's exactly what he's doing. But I will say this. There's absolutely no politician from northern Nigeria who has the right to speak about this, especially if they didn't speak up in the 8 years of President Buhari, when President Buhari almost destroyed Nigeria with tribalism. Nobody, no politician from the North has the right to speak about this unless they spoke against President Buhari when he was doing the same thing. If you see what happened in several ministries where step cadre upon cadre, where they were ensuring that only people from a certain part of Nigeria were there in case they remove these people, only their people will be there. This is what people saw. This is what this government met in place. I saw what happened in FCT when Wike came in and saw what was going on.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, okay, just to let you know.
The governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu.
Okay, what you're seeing on your screen right now is an empowerment program by Micro Enterprise Support Initiative, and this is under the auspices of the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. It is taking place right now at Lagos TV in Ikeja. Of course, we'll continue with our program here, and if you're watching us and this comes up, you can always continue to watch us on our YouTube channel. I can't hear because what I'm hearing is the audio of the event in my ear. So, Mr. Dumebi Kachiku, please, I'll take a quick break. We'll be right back to continue with this conversation.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Well, I do apologize. It seems to be going and coming. But here we are. Our guest is Mr. Dumebi Kachiku, the 2023 ADC presidential candidate. And we've started the conversation, actually, on the race for the presidency in Nigeria intensifies. We've made the point, and he has commented on the fact that this is just halfway into the very first term of the Tinubu administration. He's given his thoughts as to why this is so, and you know, it's not necessarily the best, but he's, you know, giving his thoughts on that. And also some criticisms he's also spoken about in relation to this particular administration. He's also spoken about that. Okay, to continue, you know, and hopefully the flow will not be broken anymore this time. To continue, Mr. Kachiku, there's a sense, even though I said that it seems to have, the electoral season seems to have started early, it is clear that if not for, what do I refer to is that the sort of a coalition that was announced by, you know, undertaken by the former governor of Kaduna State, and you have all sorts of opposition figures joining together with the sole purpose to remove electorally and democratically the president from office. That, no doubt, has served to really muddy the waters. And then when you look at the final result, and I am saying it is the result, you might see it differently. When you see the final result that we have of a whole state, you know, governor, legislators, everybody moving from their party into the ruling party. This is a conversation that's been going on, and I wonder what you think about this, because they are citing the interest of the good people of Delta State, and that everything they are doing is coming from there. That's where there is no opposition to the idea. Everybody is in tandem with the idea. I would like to really hear your commentary on all of this.
Well, that's a very, thank you for the question. It's interesting what we saw happen in Delta. Like I said, you have a few politicians from the north, like you mentioned, the former governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, who in trying to put together a coalition, they said projecting again this arrogant posture that seems to suggest that the North gave you this power and we want to take our power back, right? And a lot of people, especially from northern Nigeria, are tired of the shenanigans of politicians like this, and that's just the truth. They play with the emotions of the people. They make it about the North, but it's just about a few individuals who, when they are not happy or when they don't get what they want from government, they start reacting negatively. So in this instance, people said, you know what, we will not allow what happened to President Jonathan happen again. President Buhari enjoyed 8 years of power, 8 years as president of Nigeria. And at 8 years, when major political parties went against President Tinubu, President Buhari, they were people from his part of the country. So based on the old order of politics that these people practice, it was the turn of the North. Now, Nigerians seem to believe that this clique of northern politicians believe, no, you know what? 2 years is too much. We cannot chance. We made a mistake in letting power go back to the South, and we must take power back. And so people from all parts of Nigeria are upset and say, we will not let these people do this to us again. And that's why you see, I mean, you will see more to come. That's why you see politicians from northern Nigeria, southern Nigeria, coming together to say, you know what, no matter what happens, the way the North defended President Buhari, in spite of his less than stellar, in spite of his weak, in spite of his non-performance, northern Nigeria didn't speak up. They let him destroy the economy of Nigeria, destroy our fabric as a people. Nobody spoke up. And why do they then speak up 2 years? They didn't even let this president work on his agenda. They just said give him a different agenda from day one. And that's why people are saying, you know what? Everyone. I'm seeing northern politicians from the north saying we are with the president. I'm seeing people from the southwest, southeast, south say they are with the president, and that they are not going to allow them derail this presidency. It makes sense, because if we go by the old order of politics, this is taken to be the turn of the North. So if you want to build a coalition, if you want to build a coalition to say you want to take on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from the get-go, the sponsors of this coalition should make clear to all Nigerians that they believe is the turn of southern Nigeria, that they will build a coalition led, fronted by a southerner to take on a southern president. Then people will know it's not about power grabbing, because they believe that power only belongs to them. That's what they should do, but they will never do this. And this is why you see the governor of Delta State with the former governor, Kowa, taking the bull by the horns and saying, you know what, it's about the interest of Nigeria, it's about the interest of protecting our people, protecting our fragile democracy, and we'll do everything to protect this type of politics that we practice. Mind you, what they practice is not what I necessarily agree with. I don't believe in religion or tribe in political spaces. It should be about competence. But that is what they all believe in. And so that's why they've done what they're doing. And trust me on this. In the next few weeks, you're going to see more states do the same thing, all fold into APC, to send a very strong message that never again will we tolerate a situation where a few men decide to speak for a whole region, a whole nation, and say, we did this, we did that. That's just the message they are sending to these people. That's all.
And do you think they really have the credibility so to do? Do you think that the Northerner exists who can singularly say, I am speaking for the North? The North is a very expansive area.
Absolutely not. I've said this time and time again. Sorry to, I mean, if that's your question. I've said this time and time again. You have people who have not been elected. How dare they come on a national platform to say, we did not? You don't have any rights, any moral structure of platform whatsoever to speak in that manner and say, we did not. The North is made up of multi-ethnic groups. The Hausa, Fulani, Doma, all sorts of ethnic groups make up the North there. And so when you say we did not, you speak only for yourself and your family. And make it clear you speak about your own personal interests. And that's what irks a lot of people, like myself. I get so angry when I see someone come and say, we did not, or we did South, or we did this. Don't speak for yourself. Speak about your personal issues. Don't say we did not, we did South. You have no reason to say that. But I want to get something, I want us to get something straight here. People are playing on the dynamics of the myriad issues we have at play in Nigeria. It's been a very bumpy 2 years for the president because the president has let himself be derailed with all the issues, the opposition politicians. A very, very unstructured opposition politician sphere. They are playing. He's letting himself be derailed. And every time he's answering or catering to the agenda instead of focusing on delivering the dividends of democracy to Nigerians. The president must not let himself get dragged into 2027. I mean, we play God as politicians. No man has control over life or death. No one knows tomorrow. But the way we speak as politicians, you begin to wonder if these people have discovered the secret of life. I don't know if they have. But the president must deal with the issues we are facing in Nigeria. We have an economic crisis. We have security issues. We have issues of youth unemployment. We have issues of national cohesion. We have a lot of issues, you know. And whilst they are doing a yeoman's job in trying to tackle the security issues, these politicians are still sponsoring terrorists, mercenaries into our country to try and break up this country, to try and make this country look unstructured or make the president look like he's incapacitated. All Nigerians must begin to see through what is at play here, that a few politicians are behind the killings we are seeing all over the country. Our farmlands have been taken over. People are not farming. Cost of food has gone up. Transportation is difficult. Kidnappings are happening every day, all sponsored by a few politicians. I know the National Security Advisor is doing a yeoman's job, but he needs to do more. And when I say do more, the time has come to start exposing these people. Arrest these people, prosecute these people. We know these people. You know these people. Take them on. Nothing will happen.
Well,
we must not bring religion and tribe into this. You know who these people are. Take these people on. Act on credible intelligence and take these people on. Nigeria is bigger than a few politicians. But we cannot have a situation where scores of people, hundreds of people are being killed every day. Look at what we're experiencing in Plateau, in Benue, in Nasarawa, in Taraba. Look at what's going on in all those places. Look at what's going on in the southwest, in the southeast. We can't continue like this. A few weeks ago, you saw what happened in Edo State. And it made it a political spectacle, with governors coming from the south to the north to go and commiserate with people, and people not speaking up about people who were killed and all those things. Why did those things happen in the first place? Why do we make politics out of those things? Now, since those people died, people are still dying every day. Why are they still not traveling?
Okay. Well,
why are they not going from place to place? People are still being killed in Edo State every day. In Delta State, every day. In Kaduna, in Kano, in Kebbi, in Jigawa, in Sokoto, people are being killed every day. Why are the governors not still traveling? So we have a bunch of incompetent politicians presiding over us and playing politics with the lives of ordinary Nigerians. Indeed. And this is what we must speak about. But Nigerians must also understand this. This hate affair we have with our president that's gone unabated since the elections must come to an end.
Okay.
I tell you this, anybody who has the best interest of Nigeria at heart must not look at his president, the president of a country is from, in this manner, in the light we continue to deal with our president.
Okay. Let me take this call.
The Constitution has given him 4 years.
Yes. So, very sorry. Let me take this call. Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for holding on. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning,
sir. To Mr. Kachiku.
Yes.
Yes. Uncle Yori, I would first like to ask Mr. Kachiku what he did right during the 2023 elections. I looked at the election results, the presidential election results, and I noticed that his party, the ADC, won votes in virtually all the local governments in Nigeria, including in the far north. He is the only minority party that was able to do that. There's something I believe he did that he needs to keep up for future elections. Maybe his type will be the right opposition we need in the nearest future. But coming back to the topic of the day, Uncle Yori, I'm not surprised at the turn of events in our politics. People migrating from their parties to the party where the president is. Look at the PDP. There's no leadership. From the day they allowed Atiku to force himself on them as a presidential candidate against the party's rules, that was the day this defection started. And they cannot hold. They have not even been able to tackle that issue. Where is the reasonable politician that wants to belong to a party that has no leadership? Since Tinubu came to power, the APC administration has changed. It wasn't when Buhari was there. You know, I was always complaining on this program that Buhari is the only president I know who does not care about what happened to the party that brought him to power. Tinubu is not like that. Everybody, if anything happens in any state on the party, you will see the president as the party leader intervening and checks them. That is what is attracting people. They are looking at his programs. Look, the time you will not give me 10 minutes to talk about his programs. Everybody knows the quality of the programs he is, introducing. Very laudable programs. The opposition has never questioned any of his programs. They have never critiqued it. All they say is just to abuse this person running from one place to the other. Is that opposition? They have nothing to say about what he's doing because the successes are there. People see it. Look at Uncle Yori.
Yes.
President Tinubu is the only politician I've seen in our country whose son is not locked up in one deep freezer in Europe. Most of them will lock up their children in cold regions. You don't know them, don't see them. But look at the boy. He does his business here. He's going from place to place, building bridges, showing what others can never do. Look at his wife. The wife doesn't go with him on holidays. She works 24 hours. She has no weekend, no holiday. Going from state to state to alleviate the sufferings of people. Do you think if somebody is in an opposition party that he cannot see, they are now talking about turning Nigeria to a one-party state? Somebody
okay. In fact, that's something I wanted to bring up with Dumebi. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. I really appreciate you. And as you said, Mr. George is a very frequent caller on the program. And he's been a long-time supporter of the ruling party. But coming back to you, that point he landed on there before, I sort of came in. The whole idea of this is the way we're going, Nigeria is going to become a one-party state. again, is that a false alarm? What do you think? False alarm, or can you see what the reasoning is that make people talk like that?
Well, I think, again, it's the opposition has latched onto a term, and that is non-existent. I don't believe the president has the capacity to make Nigeria a one-party state. At some points, credible people who truly have ideological issues or reasons or structures that they can bring against what APC has, those people will come together and run on ideological reasons. But at this point, all you have is a bunch of men who are looking at garnering resources or looking at capturing state resources again, and that's why they want to run for office. And so when they see political brinksmanship on the part of the president at play, they start saying it's about a one-party state. Nobody can ever make Nigeria a one-party state. Just the same way PDP was the dominant political party that seemed at that time like Nigeria was a one-party state. You had people like President Tinubu again who cobbled people together, and they put together a strong opposition that took PDP out of power. That's the same thing that can still happen. But all I'm trying to say is this. It will never happen when you have the likes of Atiku Abubakar who believe that it's their birthright, and that because I am from northern Nigeria, it's very easy for me to get the people to stand behind me based on no reason whatsoever, just because I'm this person from northern Nigeria.
Yes, sentiment.
And then I can stand against President Tinubu. That's the problem we have with the opposition today. That's the problem we had with the last election. Because Atiku had no business running in that election in the first place, since President Tinubu, President Buhari had done 2 terms. There was no reason why a major political party should have fielded a northern candidate based on the power structure that these guys have all agreed on. And that's the same mistake they are making again. That's why I challenge them. You want to build a coalition against President Tinubu? By all means do that. But from the get-go, come out and say, we will field a southern candidate. maybe Kachiku will be the first to lead the charge, to go on the stump and campaign for that coalition. But as long as they continue this irresponsible behavior of saying we did not, when you know just you yourself and a few friends, it's absolutely unacceptable.
Okay.
And that is why you see politicians from all walks of life coming together to say, you know what, if it means us all collapsing our structures into APC, to stand against these people who will pay any price just to get what they want, we will do it. And that's what you see happening.
Okay. Tony in the UK, good morning. Thank you for holding on.
Morning. I just want to ask one simple question.
Okay.
Tinubu had just started his own regime, maybe about yesterday. Why is it that every time Nigerians are always interested in electing a new person to start organizing or ruling them? Well, they voted Tinubu for Nigerian economy or to better Nigeria. We have not seen anything any of them has done so far. Why are they struggling, lobbying to see to have a new leader? What they have to do for us is still at large. We are not seeing any improvement. The electricity is there, road trial, everything is still there for we to see what they are trying to do and what they have done. We have not seen any of them. Now they are chasing who will then be a president again. What is the problem? We have problems to sort out. The people we have elected so far, we have not seen what they are doing. Let us focus on what they are elected for.
Okay. All right then. I'll tell you what, thank you very much for calling in, Tony, in the UK, and also for holding on. Mr. Kachiku, I'll take a break now. So when I come back, perhaps you can respond to Tony calling in from the UK. Do stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Okay then. Thank thank you very much for staying with us, or indeed for joining us. There's still some meat on the bone. If you've just arrived, our guest is Dumebi Kachiku, 2023 ADC presidential candidate. Okay, I don't know if you'd like to respond or comment on Tony's submission, Tony in the UK. It's only been 2 years, bemoans Tony. Only been 2 years. Why are we carrying on like this? Instead of, concentrating, evaluating what has been done or hasn't been done, why, in short, it's like we sometimes say in Nigeria, why are we like this?
Well, it lends to what I said earlier on about the support all Nigerians, that all hands must be on deck right now. The reality is that this president cannot accomplish anything without support of Nigerians. We keep on making this mistake as Nigerians, thinking that being president of Nigeria is just about the office and the man. It's beyond that. It's a partnership between the office and the people of Nigeria, and that's what's missing. That's what's been missing for 2 years. Nigerians refuse to engage, and they believe in not engaging, that they are doing him harm, but they are doing themselves and the nation harm. You must engage with this presidency. You must work in tandem with him. You must evaluate his policies, his programs, and his plans. You must act on them when they make sense to you, your business, your family. You must support the president, because supporting him means being patriotic and supporting your country. What we tend to do every day on social media, bashing the president, bashing the presidency for reasons that don't make sense sometimes, is alien to me. What you see in advanced democracies is people opposing and proposing. In Nigeria, you will hardly see any opposition politician proposing. All they always do is say they are against, this is what this president did wrong. But you will hardly ever see these people proposing something different. And that's because it's either that they don't have anything to offer, or they are just grandstanding, because you know what? When you abuse this president, it goes viral. So when I'm here with you guys today and I'm saying, if I say this president is incompetent, this president has done nothing wrong, this president is that, it will go viral. The videos will go viral.
Headlines tomorrow.
That's who we are as a people. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? That's who we are as a people. But how does that help Nigeria? How does that help our balance of trade? How does that help our economy? How does that create jobs? How does that make security better? How does that stem the tide of kidnapping?
Well,
it doesn't in any way.
At all.
But we are looking at viral videos, and the media is largely irresponsible in pandering to this. We must speak to the issue so that Nigerian people can be helped to get through a trying time. What dealing with the twin effects of recession and inflation is a global anomaly. Better prepared countries than us are finding it difficult. You are speaking about a country where we had 8 years of a Buhari preceding this time, and you think it's going to be easy? Absolutely not. But the only way this president can succeed in ameliorating, in helping this issue, in doing something about these issues, if Nigerians walk, lock, and sock with him. If Nigerians are actually supporting him. Nobody's forcing you to, but it's the right thing to do as a patriotic Nigerian.
Indeed.
Don't criticize a president just because you feel you want to do and say something viral. No. It's about solutions at a time like this. This is what leadership calls for. Provide proper solutions to our myriad problems. I want to hear Peter Obi and the other political parties say, come on, let's have a conclave, let's have a convention, let's have a town hall where we proffer solutions, let's support this government. They are not getting it right. Okay, this is what they can do. Let's have that town hall and debate all these issues and give them solutions that we feel they are missing because they are too daft. Mm-hmm. But no, nobody is doing that. Mm-hmm. What makes sense is to say the president is this, the president is that, president. No, that does not help Nigerians. Every minute, an innocent soul dies in this country due to insecurity. Nobody is bold enough to call out these people who are doing these things. We're trying to partner with these people. We're trying to form coalitions with these people, and we know that this is what these people are doing.
Okay.
We can't continue
let me bring on Mazi Okoroafo. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning again. Sayori, when we talk about 2027, somebody will have to Do we need another election? Because what is happening right now, so that the election, everything has already been concluded. Because Nigerians have seen the fact. Nigerians have seen the sincerity. Nigerians have seen what is going on. Which other party is going to contest? Where is the nomenclature of other political? You see, is it Labour? You see, I was reading one of the tutorials. He said they have 3 chairmen. Is it PDP? I don't know which one is the substantial chairman, which one is the acting chairman. Is it which other? Is it so no documentation? The Nigerians should sit down and know exactly what do they have, what do we want, where. To look at what the World Bank was telling us over the weekend. I met a World Bank summit that in Nigeria, 90% are facing what we call abject poverty. That we have excess in this country. It's because of no proper arrangement, no proper of channeling those issues to the right place, to the right people, to the right source, to the. That is why we have other 90% based on the World Bank and MFA report. What do? It is not left for the populace. It's not left for the people to think within themselves right now, to be channeling the sources, to be arranging the sources, to be making the whole roadmap to work very well, gradually, so that we know that there's no more side talk, no more somebody push me back. The earlier we face the reality of life now, the better for us. Jam exams are going on. Candidates are better. What is jam? Over 2 million candidates. This is not for them. 2 million candidates now at presently, not up to 400 out of 200, out of 2 million will secure admission into Nigeria. That is what will be coming to Nigeria. How do we solve this problem? How do we solve this infrastructural problems in all the federal universities, all the state universities, all the private universities, so that we have what we call standard and qualified education for everybody. Everybody in Oshun to go to school. I have the basis, have PhD and balance as an independent human being, not dependent. What we are facing today is dependent. That is why you see what people say, that does not. Let us face the reality of life now or never. Good morning, Mazio Krafo from our State. Have a busy day.
Thank you very much, Mazio Korafo. Mr. Kachiku, would you?
Well, yes, he's spoken well. Again, it's the reality, and that's why I said the opposition has its work cut out for him. The issues do exist. I don't believe it's. I don't believe that this president does not have reasons why people should not come together, build a coalition, and challenge this president. No, there are myriad reasons why anyone should challenge this government. You cannot. I cannot stay here and deodorize this president and say this president is performing exceptionally well. I'm the first person I will tell you where this president is failing. But at the same time, whereas I am an opposition politician, whereas I understand that the president is failing in certain areas, but I still believe it's my job as a Nigerian to first and foremost support this president to achieve his objectives, because ultimately I am a direct beneficiary if he succeeds. And that's how every Nigerian ought to behave. And where I believe the president is getting wrong, I must be able to proffer credible, logical solutions and say, you can do this better. And let me tell you something. In the first 3 to 6 months of this presidency, several times I'll come on this forum, on Arise or any forum, and speak about any of the programs he's presented and that they don't make sense, or they could do it in a different way. And within 48 to 72 hours, 76 hours, you will see a U-turn, and where they go and restructure, we engage. And it showed me very clearly that this was a president who is willing to look at a logical reasoning, logical argument, not about emotions. So those people who believe that the best way to engage this man is constantly criticize him, constantly insult him, well, let me tell you something. I always say this. As a husband, if you have a wife who all she does is henpeck you, all she does is insult you, disrespect you day in, day out, what do you think that woman can get from that man? That is a question we must ask Nigerians. What do you think you can get from a president you continue to show hatred? That is why it's easy for this president to appoint for any position that comes out. He will give his people, at least his people will be there for him. Last, not so. Because you guys are all showing hatred. Okay. And you say you are always quick to say, okay, anytime you feel I'm saying something that shows the president in bad, you just jump in there. Let me land on my point, please.
No, please, by all means, because I want to even interrogate that one of your positions a bit more. But please do go ahead and land.
Okay, so so it's important. It's very, 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 very important for all lovers of democracy, all lovers of Nigeria, all patriotic Nigerians. I believe it's important to have a virile and a very strong and credible opposition. I don't think that what we have right now, these people who are grandstanding, I don't believe they have what it takes to lead Nigeria out of this quagmire. I believe that by the time Nigerians see a new face, see new faces, people who are not of this old order, people who have probably not held political offices before, people who stand and debate on issues, proper solutions, people who have what it takes, people who are lovers of Nigeria and Nigerians, people who believe in the unity of Nigeria, people who don't believe in ethnicity or religion, people who said all men, all Nigerians are born equal, have equal rights before the Constitution. People who understand that the poor, the rich, the old, the young are all equally protected under the Constitution of our country. Until we have opposition that understands these issues, that does not speak about the turn of the North or the turn of the South, we might as well continue with this old order. But the day Nigerians say, we are done with this, after President Tinubu, no more of this type of people. Let's speak about competence. Let's speak about efficiency. Let's speak about people who have what it takes, not about where they come from, but about having what it takes to solve our problems as Nigerians.
Okay.
But till then, we might as well continue managing this situation.
Well, as an opposition figure yourself, and you said, a little earlier that it's not as if the president is doing everything right. But for lack of time, there's so many. I was just curious, off the top of your head, what's just one thing that you think the president could be doing differently that might be leading to this perspective?
Very simple. I believe that the president did what no other Nigerian leader has done or could do. He was very brave in removing subsidy. So it was very, very brave of him, because you know what removing subsidy meant? You are saying, you know what, I'm going on a suicide mission, I'm risking a second term. He did it, right? And he freed up a lot of resources. Where have those resources gone into? I believe that the first thing he ought to have done was to ensure that as he freed up those resources, he will work with the governors and the different tiers of government to ensure that the money was put into critical infrastructure, social infrastructure to get to Nigerians.
Okay.
So if we're looking at power today, can you see the impact on power? If we're looking at agriculture, can you see the impact on agriculture? If you're looking at the economy, can you see the impact? You cannot see the impact of that money that has been freed up, because the president immediately did it. Opposition gave me a different agenda, and he was not able to marshal the government together to ensure that Nigerians benefited from it. So after 2 years, you cannot really point to what have we done with this money. The governors are getting a lot more money. All the governors. Who is watching? Who is asking? What are they doing with this money? Local government chairmen, what are they doing with this money?
Because I was going to say that.
The president ought to have brought all these people together under one roof to say, you know what, guys, Nigerians must benefit from this money. That hasn't happened.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for illustrating the point that you were making. Now, as you know, the PDP, the former vice president and indeed the last presidential candidate, its last presidential candidate, it has said that it's not interested in the idea that is being floated by El Rufai and co. El Rufai, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. It's not interested in any coalition. However, if anybody wants to join the PDP, it should feel free to come. What do you read into that particular strategy, that it's not going to be part of any coalition, but if anybody wants to come, let him come, in this whole political mix?
Who made this statement? The Vice President Atiku Abubakar?
Well, the party. The party itself, the party.
The PDP itself.
Yes.
I mean, we all know at this point that the PDP is an empty shell, and that's the reality. The PDP is an empty shell. The PDP, a party that ruled Nigeria for several years. It's unfortunate what has happened to the PDP. They lost touch with the average Nigerians. They became very, very elitist. They refused to move to the next generation. They continue with the old order of politics and believe that Nigerians will continue with their same brand of politics. And whereas they ought to have looked to a new generation, new direction, new ideas, they didn't do that. And somebody looked at their playbook, took their playbook, took them out of play. Instead of them to reinvent themselves, they continue with the same style of politics. Me, myself, and I, religion and ethnicity. We, the North. We, the South. We, the East. They have nothing new to offer. Absolutely nothing to offer. And Nigerians are totally disgusted. Nigerians are tired of the party called PDP. They're tired of that party. They have absolutely nothing to offer. It's a shame because that party led to the rebirth of Nigeria after the military era. It's a shame that we let this party die the way it has died today.
Well, as you know, they themselves will say that, look, you just started the debate. It's not a fact that we are dead. In fact, they actually are hopeful. If you listen to some of their leaders, I've heard Chief Labade George speaking, that things ought not to be the way it is. But Mr. Kachiku, I understand, and I think Nigerians that are listening to you also understand where you're coming from. We've run out of time, so I want to thank you very much for coming on. And you're not disappointing. I sort of knew this is the way you're going to get it the way it is. Thank you very much for coming on our program this morning.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
All right, then. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there because of time. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folare.